And good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I do every day. And what a night we had last night at the presidential debate 2024. Oh man, I feel so good to watch Kamala Harris destroy. Can I just say it one more time? Destroy. Sorry, just had to go there. It's so good to see everybody here. It was some kind of debate last night, and but we will talk about that. We also have our special guest on today. Today we're going to do like the professionals do it. We're going to put so much in this hour and a half, well, hour and 15 minutes. We might go an hour and a half. Who knows? Because we have the wonderful Amparo Van Photog is in the building as well. She's going to be part of our panel discussion. And then she is also going to give us some lessons and conversations about travel photography, travel and landscape photography, how to do it and how to learn while doing it. So we're going to be talking about that as well. So we'll go right from the debate and straight into that. And whatever else happens, but first, I want to take the time to just say, let's take a moment for acknowledging and in memory of those that passed away during September 11th. I was at next door, not too far from the actual event that happened during that day. I lost friends. I know lots of people in New York City. We lost a lot of our dear friends for September 11th, and so let's take a moment to acknowledge our losses and to pray for the families that are still struggling. People are still struggling with their losses, even though we're now 20 plus years out from that tragic day. So, yeah, that's what we want to do. So I'm just going to take a moment. I'll give it about 20, give us 15 seconds to do that and just take a moment to just think about our losses. Okay. And thank you guys. Thank you so much. And let's welcome some folks into the building. The first person in the building with the gold is Chrissy's Corner. Good morning. Ding 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 ding. Next with the silver is Chris R. She says good morning. And then third but not least, because we got more folks coming in after her, is Aya. Aya is in the building with the bronze today. Aya, guys, she says grand rising. And then we have the great Jazzy. Good morning, everyone. We have Adrian Florence is in the building. Good morning, who's going to be on our panel discussion. And we got Chris. She's saying RIP Frankie Beverly and the 9/11 victims. Thank you so much for sharing that. And A says sending prayers and remembering 22 years ago, roughly 3,000 people were killed during terrorist attacks on 9/11. I see Mr. Trini Pilot is in the building. Good morning. And we have the great GR Houston. Jack is in the building. She says, good morning. Hannah's in the building. Good morning. And Adrienne is in the building. Adrienne, New York City. Good morning, everyone, she says. And David Moscato is in the building. How you doing, brother? Good morning, all. Make sure you look up your pet. Make sure you lock up your pets. especially if they're around the JD Vance. Also, oh gosh. Okay, so here we go. Bryson's in the building. He says, "What's up?" And I have who else is in the building? Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna move quickly. I got Amparo, she's on the screen, and we got Adrian on the screen on the panel, and we are just going to go. Whoever wants to. Also, if you decide you want to come onto the panel, you can scan the QR code, and we'll rotate you in into the conversation, and then rotate you out, rotate you in, rotate you out, if you want to be a part of the conversation today. Okay, so you know what we're going to talk about. First of all, I feel like I didn't get enough sleep because I was up all last night looking at and my voice is pretty much gone too. Roland Martin did such a great after party of the debate, and they went all in. It was so good. So if you have not seen the Roland Martin after party of last night's debate, it was really good and has so many. They share so many different perspectives, and I love what I love about the Roland Martin show is that it's such a they're so raw when they are conversing. I mean, they be cursing at each other, telling each other to shut up. It's kind of ruckus. It's like a rude area, but they do cover a lot of facts, and I love how they go at it. And so check it out. But anyway, welcome Amparo, welcome Adrian. How we gonna get this thing started? What did you got? What did you guys think?
Man, it was so amazing last night. I think just watching Kamala Harris really put forth a sound message, a really professional, well thought out, well put together message. And I think what I enjoyed the most was really just watching her expressions as he would implode. Like she would just turn and look at him and nod her head and go, yeah,
That was the
mm.
move,
And
right?
then
That
she
was
would
the move.
deliver, yeah, she would just turn, and then she would deliver some shots. It was amazing. I was very happy last night with the way that she performed. And I was glad that everyone was able to see Donald Trump without being, prodded, or just allow him to just do it all on him by himself. She said one thing about the way that rallies happen, and she told
Mhm.
everyone that they should go to his rallies, and he got so upset, because she was trying to, oh, I have the numbers, and my numbers, I always have big crowds,
He's
and
always worried
he was
about the
getting so
size.
always about
It's all about the
always
size.
about the size. But he got so unraveled so quickly, so
So
early,
quickly.
and it was so easy to just watch him implode and just have her
Yeah.
sit back and very professionally present in such a manner that was very calm, and I think exactly what America needs right now. So it was like, okay, you can have this or you can have that.
Wow. Adrian, what was going through your head during this wonderful event, this wonderful debate?
Overall, I thought it was she exceeded my expectations. I'll be
Yes.
honest with you, and I think that she set the tone from the start. I mean, we remember that first debate that we watched, and we were just it
We
was
were
painful
horrified.
to watch it, right? But from the very beginning, Trump tried to dodge her, go around the podium, but she was like, "No, I'm going to come to you, put
Yes,
my
right.
hand out," and she introduced herself because she's like,
Hi, I'm Kamala Harris.
I do believe that this is the first time that they were in the same room together, uh,
Yes.
since the election. So it was like, no, I know what you do. You want to avoid me, but you will not be able to avoid me for the entirety of this evening. And so she started that right out strong. I'm going to be the person. I'm going to be the bigger person. I'm going to come to you. I will shake your hand. And that set the tone for what would happen the rest of the evening. I'm going to
Mm,
take charge. I'm going to take the lead. I'm going to prod you, and you are going to show everybody, let's be honest, who we already know you to be. So I don't I
yes.
don't, I don't think that it was so much a loss for him as much as it was a win for her, because he was exactly who he's always proven himself to be.
Yes.
He just gave us more of him, and so for everybody that's going to vote for him, all those I feel sorry for those folks, but for everyone that's going to vote for him, they're going to still vote for him. But she came out swinging and did not miss.
Mm, say that again. She did not miss. I mean, she beat him down like a rag doll. It was so Obviously we had our gathering last night. We had our watch party, and thank you for all the folks that showed up. We had up to like 24, 25 people all together in the room. And that was a beautiful, so everyone came out to share and show. And, but it was just one question after another after another. So they did the checking on, I think it was CNN did the fact checking, one of the fact checkers, companies, whoever these good people are.
Right.
And Trump he told 33 lies.
Yeah.
33 lies, 33 what they call it, mistruths. And then you had Kamala that did have one. She had one mistruth. And the one mistruth was that they inherited the worst employment. The
Right.
worst employment since the Depression. It
Right.
was not the worst since the Depression, it was the worst since 2008. So that was the only correction there. But think about it, all that she said, but also and one of the other stats that they have from last night is that Trump spoke 10 minutes more than Kamala did. She was like 33. I think it was 33 minutes, and she was 23 minutes or something like that. That those numbers that she was able in her responses versus his responses.
Wow.
So
what I think is difficult is that whenever there's a debate, one thing that they said that they weren't going to do that I noticed that they did, they were supposed to have the microphones turned off.
I was screaming I was screaming, I was losing my mind.
And I'm going, why could we still hear him? And then they would allow him to rebut whatever it was that she said. And then whenever she would try and do the same, I noticed, and not that they didn't, it wasn't, I'm not saying that it was unfair, but I just really felt that they gave him more of an opportunity to speak. I don't know if it's because they felt like he was the underdog and necessarily, maybe
I think he was just a bulldog. He was
a little bit of bullying.
He was a bully. He just kept, even though they were trying to shut him up, they were really several times they were saying, "Look, this is the facts. This is what," and he still kept going on, even though they wanted him to be quiet. Now, see, what I would have done is just simply pull the plug. Beep, no more conversation. But I think also it allowed America to see what a belligerent fool this man was, and that he cannot control himself, not even to the basics of rules for a debate.
I mean, I don't know that I necessarily agree that she didn't have her opportunity. I remember one time where it was shut down and they had to move on, but she still took the opportunity to come back later on, and
that's what I loved. I loved it.
She was still able to come back and punch back. But again, and I'd love to hear your opinions on this. Do you actually think, because there's a big debate on whether or not debates actually matter, right? And whether it moves the needle on anybody. It's not going to move. It probably doesn't move the needle at all on the people that were already dedicated to Trump and the folks that are already dedicated to VP Harris. But do you think that it's going to make a significant impact for those that are allegedly on the fence?
I love the word allegedly.
Anyone want to take a crack at that? Elise? Well, first of all, good morning, Elise. Welcome.
Good morning, Miss Elise.
Good morning.
She's refreshed.
Yes.
Elise was everywhere yesterday. She was on the Ken show, the Kenny show. She was here with me. She was on the after parties. Elise was everywhere. Elise, did you get any sleep last night?
Oh yeah, I went to sleep. I did. I turned stuff off and went to sleep. I think, people who, if they were at, it's like this one guy said, people are really undecided.
Yes.
So there were people who needed to hear and wanted to hear. I have to be very clear about that. Wanted to hear what her policy was, because she's been saying it the whole time. Maybe they would be committed. And I think the brilliant part of last night was when Taylor Swift came out and said who she was voting for, because, he had put out the fake AI on his Truth Social, saying that she supported him. So I think, that will have an impact. I think the people's reactions afterwards will be what will have the impact. of what happens. And we know debates change things, because you know what was happening after the first debate with Biden. You know, it can
Well,
impact
yeah.
things. So it does have an impact. I don't think anyone should make you
Underestimate
think
them.
otherwise, because they do have impact. Because some people who needed to hear some things were hearing, and there were more listening parties. There were listening parties all over DC last night.
They were look, they
Everyone had
said
a
it was the
listening party.
most. They said they said when the numbers come through, they do believe that last night's debate was the most watched debate in history.
Wow.
So yeah, it was, people were they were craving for last night's debate. And but I would say for Adrian's question is that I do believe that, remember, our elections are incrementals. Every increment matters. So if you can, for the extremists on both sides, it doesn't matter. Trumpsters are going to be Trumpsters. Kamala Harris people are going to be Kamala Harris people. I mean, those hardcore people are going to stay. They're not going to be moved. They're not going to be changed.
Yeah.
However, there is this sliver of people that are, believe it or not, they are undecided for whatever that may be. And a lot of them are independents. A lot of them are independents, and they just don't know where to go. And then also you have now in this new era, you have a lot of Republicans that need permission to go over and say, I'm going to vote for Kamala. So I think last night gave Republicans that are no longer on the Republican ticket or part of the Trumpster movement, they felt, one, you got the Cheneys, you got all the things that came out over the week, and now you had her do such a strong performance. I thought a lot of folks that thought maybe she was weak or they just couldn't get the grasp of her being presidential, they saw her last night being presidential. I mean, she took command. They were saying last night, this morning, they were like, she's the alpha. She was the alpha in the room. She walked over to him. She's like, wait a minute, you are on my stage.
Right.
I think that debates are definitely important, right? And
Yes.
one of the most important reasons why they're so important, one of the reasons why they're so important is because I think that the American people have a very short attention span and they forget a lot of stuff. And I loved how she was able to really bring back a lot of things that I think a lot of people forgot about him, and things that he did that really make him unqualified. And I think a lot of people, a lot of the undecideds, the allegedly undecided people who might go into this, might go into the election booth in November and go, oh my gosh, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. If they heard some of those things, it might give them pause, right? Because maybe they forgot. I also think that one of the things that I don't think that they touched on too much, he's, going on and on about, we're going on and on about Project 2025, right? We're promoting that, there's this Project 2025 thing, and he's changed it around. And so he's totally changed the label on it to, I think it's called,
Agenda 47.
Agenda 47. Thank you. So he sits there and feigns ignorance, right? And goes, oh, Project 2025. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? Who said that? And meanwhile, there's this whole other agenda that he has going on that has the exact same things. But had someone called him out on that, I think it would have been a little bit more poignant for those people who are allegedly undecided, because they don't know that that's his deal. His MO is to do the bait and switch, which might work for some, doesn't work for these women over here.
And I think so two things. I think that first off, the whole country and probably a majority of the world was watching, right?
The world was watching.
About a slim margin of people. We're also talking about a slim margin of people within Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. It's those 7 states. The others are, which ones are blue, which ones are going to be red.
Exactly.
It's just these 7 states.
The slithers.
It's even small. I think it's even smaller than we're giving it credit for, as far as where it's targeted. Like we always talk about light, right? And you can have a big old spotlight or a laser. This is a laser focus that needs to happen where they are just
Right.
directly looking at these 7 places and the people within those states to say, you have to come over and vote for go blue all the way down.
Yeah, here was something that was really skillful of Kamala last night when she took an international situation, Ukraine, and she talked about Putin. We got to save, working with Ukraine, creating NATO, backing our friends. And then she came and said, if we didn't take care of Ukraine, he would have touched Poland.
Poland, right.
And Pennsylvania has a large Polish population. So she took a international thought, it's an international situation, current event, and said, we are working hard to do this to protect these people. And she called them by name. And she said, and the Polish people of Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah.
That she brought, her skills. When you talk about laser focus maneuvering and laser focus conversation and wording, that one was one of the best. I thought that was one of the best when she took that and said Polish.
Yeah, and I think that's her skill set, right? She is a former prosecutor. She's been in a courtroom, so she knows how to take those notes and then use what she needs to say. And I think one of the things, going back to Project 2025, right? The one part that people need to remember that he said is, I haven't read it, but there's some bad parts and some good parts in it.
Yes.
Now I don't know if that's what people told him, but he to say I have no knowledge of something, and then to go back and say there are bad parts and good parts,
and good parts.
You have some knowledge of it, right? And when we talk about states, I think we are going to be surprised at some of the quote unquote red states.
I think so too.
I think they're going to be some red state surprises because remember the golf cart parade by the senior citizens in Florida for her this year.
Yeah.
Where in 2020 they were for him. I think there may be some surprises because we have to pay attention to, number one, she's hitting hard on senior citizens because she knows one of the biggest voting blocks are senior citizens.
Yes, and that's Florida.
They actually vote.
They actually vote.
And they vote. Jazzy says to break it down even further. She says, look at the margins within those 7 states. Look at the counties and target them, which is what she did last night.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adrian, you said, Adrian, the 7 states, you share the 7 states again. I just want to make sure that we.
So the one that they're in, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Nevada, Michigan, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina.
Right. Yes.
Not Texas. You wouldn't put Texas on there at all.
No, well, no, they're not. They're not what's called a toss-up state. However,
Texas isn't considered
the polls yesterday.
Right. It's not
red.
It's a red state.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is purple.
Texas is purple, a sleeping giant. Because there's what I forgot the number, but there's I forgot the name, the number of people in Texas that do not vote.
Crazy number.
There's a crazy number that do not vote. So, but they in the polls, they see her climbing in Texas, and there's an indication that also she is doing very well in Florida, and people are saying Florida could become a toss-up state.
That'd be
really?
I think Texas has a better chance than Florida, but
really,
I think we have to really pay close attention to the senior citizens in Florida because there's a lot of them down there who that's their residency. That's their resident. These not just the vacationers. We have to really pay attention to them and see what people are saying about them. I think that's where that part hinges on are those white senior citizens down there, because they have this year with that golf cart parade was a very different reaction from them.
Well,
So
Mm.
I don't know
if
what
know,
made it happen. Say that
you know
again.
what I find, somewhat concerning though? There are a lot of people who still, despite all of these things, will still say, I don't think that I'm going to vote, right? And
Mhm.
I think that it's unfortunate, of course, and I personally don't try to push anyone one way or another. I certainly speak my piece and then hope that someone will make a decision as an adult on their own, because these are things that people have fought for and died for people to have these rights, right? Um, but I just find it really, really interesting. I just find it really, really interesting that
You
we
know,
are at the, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm gonna also interject about the Florida. They said last because of the dog. Sorry, the
The
dog
cat and
eating
dogs.
cannibals
Oh
thing that
my
went on.
gosh.
The cat and
Uh,
dogs.
and when
Oh my
JD Vance
gosh.
went on and said, even though it's not true, we still gonna talk about it. So what happened? They said last night that the Haitians in Florida have now mobilized within 24 hours. The people, the Haitian community in Florida, which is I heard is big.
it's big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
it's
big
not,
community.
It's a
but it's
very big, like little Haiti, I think it's called Little Haitian or Little Haiti
Miami. Hmm.
in Miami. They said they are now pulling the people together and they're gonna work overtime to get that community to vote blue.
Right. And
But
what's
see,
important, go
it's
ahead, Nick.
bigger than that. It's bigger than just like let's just be clear. It's
Yes,
a racist trope that they are using to fearmonger in a specific area, and they're trying to spread it. Even though it doesn't matter that it's completely false and that they
exactly.
Right.
all know it to be false. The fact of the matter is that a person that is trying to become president of the United States is taking a lie, a racist lie, and trying to spread that around. So it's bigger than the Haitians. It needs to be
Yeah,
every single person of color should be offended by it and come
I
together.
think so too.
I
Yeah.
agree. And someone put up a post that reminded to remind people that it's also something Hitler said about the Jewish population
Mm.
when
Oh
it came
wow.
to pets. That's also a remark that he made in history. And they had a video that they had the photos of that part from that time of Hitler. And
Wow.
Wow.
one of the things that's key about the Haitian population, because I know one of the people that I DM with and have spoken on the phone, her heritage is Haitian, right? A couple of people actually, and the Haitian community was saying, okay, so we're not gonna vote. That was a big thing. So now to have them attacked with, basically this racial attack on them, and specifically just beating it in Haitians, but particularly them beating it in, I'm sure that has activated a lot of them. And then
But
Yeah.
some of them were saying they weren't going to vote.
and I don't want to overspeak, but the other thing about it is I actually know, well, my wife is Haitian, she's from Haitian family,
Okay.
and I know a lot of people in the Haitian community who actually are more Trump than
Mhm.
Harris, because historically of the things that have happened with with Clinton and the things that they've done in Haiti. So
Right.
they're actually offending a group of people that would have voted for them
Mhm.
Mm.
and turning them against themselves. So they're only shooting themselves in the foot.
But that's also because they don't do their homework. How do
You
you
should double
how do you
down, though.
think about it? I mean, and then double down on it. I mean, not even
And he
apologize
doubles
and say,
down on so many things.
double
It's
down on
crazy.
stupidity.
Certified.
Yeah. He
Doubling
doubled
down
down on the
on it.
fact that he doubled down last night, I couldn't believe it, on whether or not he really lost the election, because they were trying to get him to actually agree that he, was
He
conceding, and he
said
was
it.
like, "No, I still, I still believe that, I didn't lose." And I'm sitting there watching it, going, "Wow, really? After you've been convicted, after like all of these trials have come up, after all of these things have happened, you still don't see it." And I loved how she just kept taking it back to moving things forward, right? Like, do you want to go
Yes.
back to that where there's all of this chaos and not knowing and being, trying to pit people against one another? One other point I want to just quickly make too, I think that the senior population is important. I think that all people of color, we definitely need to certainly make sure that we're reaching out to, but I also think it's important to make sure that the young people,
Young
right?
people.
I have an
Yes.
18-year-old son who at the beginning of all of this stuff was kind of like, nah, you know, do I vote? I don't even think I'm gonna vote. And I'm like, no, you gotta vote. What are you talking about? And then I started thinking about, well, it's his right, right? Like he has the right whether or not he wants to vote or not. So I don't want to push and, you know, shove him to vout in one way or
You
another.
either
But
vote
last
or you're
night
out of the house.
I was like,
Last
how about we watch this debate? How about we watch this debate, see whether or not you agree with some of the things that you hear, you know? But at that point, I think I've already gotten him on the point where he's going to be voting anyway. But it's good to make sure that the young people are engrossed in this process too.
Absolutely, we need the young people, and I think that's the important part. More people who can reach to young people with the vote that encourage them to vote. And the one thing about with that whole election thing,
yes,
they said their thing was, you said you lost, he won.
He said
by this, you know, this whisper, right? And he said
3 times. He said he lost.
Did I say that?
Yeah. Did I say that?
Did I say
it was almost like an Urkel. Where's
That's what I
Urkel?
said. Was Urkel.
Did I say that?
Yes. And then he said,
all you had to do was take his pants up.
I know, but just to say that and then to say, oh, and then try to go and backtrack. Oh, it was a joke. It was in joking. No, you said it you said it more than once.
Yes, right.
In that time period that you did lose. And so to not be able to, those are your words. And I like the fact that they kept saying, that's what you said. Yeah. And I think that's where the moderators were important. And last night's debate proved that it doesn't matter who speaks the most amount of minutes. It matters what they say in that time that they had.
Yes. That's what that was one of the points of sharing, that Trump spoke more minutes, but Kamala had the deeper message. Jazzy says, former Floridians here, if they actually targeted Broward County and Miami-Dade, they wouldn't even need half the white people in that state to flip. The margin in those counties are very, very slim. Interesting. Thank you,
that is
Jazzy.
Interesting. It's kind of like New York, right? Like New York State as a state, as soon as you leave, you know, the lower New York City area, it is all Republican, right? It's very, very, very Republican. But I love what she did also, because so what? It's very Republican as soon as you leave New York City, right? I think that one of the things that she did really well was reach out to the Dick Cheney, and you know, she talked about bringing those people into the fold who are Republicans, which is what's important, right? That's exactly what's needed. I think that one of the things that Obama could not get done was, you know, passing bills and getting Supreme Court justices and all of these other things, was because there weren't people who were willing to work with him. And I think that she's showing that she is willing to do that. And he's not willing to do that. He just really wants to continue doing more of the same, more separation,
just
more
divisive,
division.
Yeah. The liberals, you know, he lives in that separated mindset. Everything is a separation. Here's a thought. I have a question for everyone on the panel, everyone in the audience. Do you think that Republicans, or even MAGA folks, maybe some of them, that are outwardly saying they love Trump because of whatever reason, because of maybe their politics, maybe their position, that when they go into the voter booth, they're going to vote for Kamala? Do you think that's possible, that there is a chunk of the Republican mega fear that because there's so many of them that lie to the public, so many people in media and in news media have said these politicians hate Trump. They hate him. They think of him as the worst. However, when they're standing in the news and on the platforms, they act like they love him. Do you think those people, when they get behind the closed doors and no one knows that they're doing what they're doing, no one's going to know, that they will vote for Kamala versus Trump?
I think it's both ways.
Ooh.
I agree.
I think that
I
there will be
agree.
people that'll be like, because I'm saying I'm a Republican. I'm gonna go, but I'm going. When they get in there, they're like, they can't live with that taste in their mouth, and they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. But I also think that there are some people that just don't want the stigma on them based on their friends and family because of the last cycle, that are going to either say nothing or say, yeah, I don't know about that. But when they're in that room by themselves because of what they think, and but I feel like I got money under when I was with Trump, or my taxes, or that they're going to just hit that button because no one's going to know, and they'll come out and they'll be like, yeah, I voted. So I think that it can work both ways, and hopefully that just evens it out from anybody that is going to go from blue to red, that there'll be an imbalance coming back the other way. But I think that it can work either way.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have there are probably some women on the other side who are going to outwardly continue to say, especially if they're married to a MAGA man, they're gonna continue to say, "Oh yeah, that's who I'm voting for." But when they get in the booth, may do something different. I think there's some women out there who would do that because they know in public, and when they're in settings, they have to sit and say, "Oh yeah," they have to go along with the line. I think there's some women out there who would do something different.
For the sake of your marriage, be quiet.
But we also, I mean, think about what Brian said. And for those that Brian is in the hospital, so guys, keep Brian in your prayers. He had a medical incident yesterday, and so keep him in your prayers and thoughts. But he said when he went out, and the woman was like, you know, don't, yeah, my husband's inside. I'm voting for Kamala, but I can't let him know that. I mean, and I heard that on a research panel on Monday or Tuesday, that there were lots of women like her around the country that had Republican husbands, or I should say MAGA husbands, and they do not want their husbands to know because they want to make sure they keep peace in their homes.
I had a conversation. Yes, I'm on the phone with, and you'll notice some of the people, so I won't name any names. I'm on the phone with an absolute Trumper and an absolute Kamala, and both men. And there was a point deep in the debate where the Trumper said to his wife, he was like, "What? You better not be voting for Kamala," because he that she'd already turned. And I was like, and so I said to him, I said, "Bro, you have no control of what she does when she's in that booth. And guess what she's doing? She's voting for Harris, President Harris." So it's happening everywhere. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know what I think that was so funny yesterday too, when she talked about, he said, "Oh, she's gonna take all your guns away," and she goes, "Yeah, well, me, I'm a gun talk member."
Everybody said, "What?"
Members are now going, wait a minute now.
That was the funny part on Roland Martin. They had me dying laughing on that part. They said when they talk about the guns being taken away from everybody, and she says, no. I am a gun holder, and everybody in the room said, "What?"
Even I was sitting here clutching pearls, like, "Oh, word."
No one expected Kamala to say that she owns a gun. No one expected
I did not
that.
expect that. I did, but I'm sure everyone in the NRA yesterday went, "Wait a minute."
The pearls
now, wait a minute.
The pearls were being clutched all over America.
I swear, I'm sitting there clutching pearls last night, like
they were up there.
And I was
but
like,
I'm still
"Holy!"
Didn't
see it coming. Did not see it coming. She said, "We are gun owners." I was like, "What?" And it goes to show, I mean, Kamala has there's a whole lot to know about this woman. Obviously, she had to, because she's the VP. The VP job is never to shine. The VP job is never to be loud. The VP's job is never to share their thoughts. The VP's job is never to sway from the policies of the president. The VP is only there in case something happens. But along that whole line of that time, she or he has to do nothing but represent someone else. They don't get
Right.
to represent themselves. That's why when you see the Republicans going off about, well, she's been there 3 years and she hasn't done nothing. That's not her job. She's not the president. And but it goes to show you there's so much about this woman that is quite intriguing. I mean,
Let me add one.
her
Can
love
I?
for music and her love for music, her laughter, her dancing, her
That is
loving for to cook food for the family, the love for her nieces. I mean, this is a woman that is a true full person.
yeah.
Go
I
ahead,
loved
Amparo.
yesterday when he tried to, in this very condescending way, say that, oh, she was at one of those black sorority parties. And he made some comment as if like she was at an event and not taking care of business, not focused on whatever was happening with the election, but she was at like one of these black sorority parties, and almost really making it seem like there's something cultish and something really horrific about black sororities. And as a member of a black sorority, one of the Divine Nine, she's an Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Yes.
I am a Zeta. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Okay, please. I
Um,
mean, you had to let us know.
I had to let you know, but
I'm
no, it's
I'm a
really important. It's important because the way that they
yes.
make it seem like, and I want to just stress this point very quickly, but the way that they make it seem, it's sororities in at least the Divine Nine. It's not like it is other organizations or other ethnicities where they just go to college and then the end of their sorority, like that's where it ends for them. In the Divine Nine organizations, you are in that sorority for life, right? You're
Yes.
not out there doing keg parties or whatever. You might be doing community service. You might be doing something. I'm actually going to be, I'm the Zeta, New York State Zeta photographer. I'm doing pictures this weekend at the African American Day Parade because the Zetas are marching there, right? Like there are all types of other community things that are done with the Divine Nine organization. And so even the inference that she's out there partying, with her black sorority, it was offensive. I really took great offense to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about the gun comment, right? Remember what her jobs used to be.
Yeah, that's
Remember
what they
what
were
she
saying,
She was
that's
a
what
was.
people
She
saying
GA.
in
was
the
That's
a
chat.
right. She was a
DA. She
senator,
She
was
was.
GA.
attorney general. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if she didn't own one.
Look,
Basically,
and
because
she's probably a
I'm sure she
sharpshooter.
had to make sure she was safe.
She's probably good at it. She probably can. I mean, I don't put. There's something about Kamala that it's amazing that we did not. Again, like I said, because of who she was and because she's vice president and she has to play herself down. It is just so refreshing to see a human being. I mean, that's what I'm loving about this journey of hers is that we are seeing her as a human.
Yeah.
And not just, a lot of people in politics is all about politics. They don't have lives outside of politics. It's just they're robotic, they have no lives, they're not well learned, they don't know anything about anything else other than politics. But you're seeing a woman here that is full of diversities in her marriage, the culture, her family, her children, how she operates, the sororities. I mean, there's a whole lot of layers to this woman. And I think she's going to bring all of that to the White House.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna have to close out now on this conversation and go straight to Amparo. Amparo is gonna share about travel and traveling, and we're gonna talk about that. So we're gonna leave Amparo on. But guys, before we go to Amparo, I just want you to say one wherever it's on your mind for this election and just share it, and then you're out. Okay, ladies first. Elise.
So I would say, remember to get out and vote. And you remember, we have to vote for Senate and House, if we want things to be accomplished that we say we want the president to do. We have to vote blue all the way down the ticket because that's how you get it done. She cannot do it without that help, period. So that's what we have to do. We have to stay focused, not be distracted by craziness, and know what our job is. Our job is to make sure she has the human resources to get things done.
Yes. Adrian.
Let's remember that 81 million people fired him once. And let's get more.
Oh, I loved that. Yes.
Get more people to fire him again. But and every vote matters. Let's never think that we don't. And I'm just going to take 15 seconds and pray for Brian. Father, give him comfort, give him peace, and give him healing in Jesus' name. Amen. Love y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And so there they go. Those wonderful panelists that we had on here. They are the best. I love this community. Aren't we amazing?
We are amazing.
We are amazing. And yes, and an amen to that prayer for Brian. So Amparo is here, y'all. And I want y'all to see something. I want y'all to see something because we are talking about Amparo. Amparo. So wait, how should I do this? Well, first of all, before, I'm just going to dive in. Let's just dive in, Amparo. Let's just dive in. So Amparo, Amparo.
Well, I have a great segue. If you
go ahead,
wish.
You share. Go for it, girl.
So we were just talking about the election, right? And after all of the buildup and everything else from the election, what everyone is going to need after that is a vacation, is a way to escape all of the buildup, all of the angst and stress and everything else that has come from the election. And what better way to do it than doing something you love, which would be my Soulful Landscape workshop out in Utah, which is from November 7th through the 10th.
And you know what? This is so impressive. For those that don't know, Amparo is a pillar in this community. She is someone that shows up here, supports, encourages, help people. She's a blessing on so many levels to this community. She has touched many lives. She continues to touch my life. And I am so proud of who she is and what she brings to us as a family here together. So for those that don't know, she is a fierce hip hop. I don't want to call it that. I shouldn't even say it. She's a hip hop fashion photographer, but she's many more. That. She's other things too. But when you look at her work, and I'm going to share her work quickly too. Let's see if I can pop that on here.
We should go through some of this too. I'd love to kind of go through some of the new stuff.
Let's do it. Let's do it because you be rocking it. I mean, you put your little vlogs together. You are not playing when it comes to the vlogging.
I definitely am trying to put myself out there. So just to kind of back up a little bit and so that everyone knows and sees this and hears me say this. I am a portrait photographer, portrait and event photographer, but my foray into photography was first doing landscapes. So landscapes have always been my first love. And I, of course, as I think many people who have watched your show before might know, that part of my journey was working in corporate. And so in order to kind of balance the two, my side hustle was always doing portraiture work. And so I have loved that. It definitely has launched me into, this is now my 30 years of full-time photographer since I left corporate. And I have started doing wonderful things like this event that you're watching right now. This was a fashion show. This was at Yonkers Fashion Week a couple of weeks back. But it's really kind of launched me on doing into that. But of course, having a background in human resources and a background in organizational development and training, I love training and I love workshops and I love being able to facilitate that type of an experience. Oh, this is me with all of the people at New York Fashion Week. Hanging out.
You were bold. I didn't go this year. But Amparo, and before we go, I mean, how was Fashion Week this year? How was Fashion Week
It
for
was
you?
amazing. So I did two main fashion shows. One was Runway 7, the very big fashion show over at Sony Hall. And New York Fashion Week ran from the 4th through the 8th. And so I was busy pretty much every day. There was like, I think 1 or 2 days that I didn't go, but um, I was pretty busy. That was like day one. And it's jam packed in there. And each day you're
Hmm.
coming back with thousands and thousands and thousands of photos and going, what am I going to do with these? I love right now how I have about, I don't know, 20 or so people every hour jumping in my DMs like, hey, you took a picture of me and so and so and so. When am I getting it? And I'm like, I got like 18,000 photos that I
You
got to
stay
sort through.
busy. You stay so
I
busy.
do. I try. I try. I really try to. Not even I try. Let me speak into that. I am doing it, right?
You
I
are
am
doing
manifesting.
it. That's right. You
I
don't
am
try.
doing
You are doing it. So
it.
now, so now that we gone, so people know. I just want people to know what you do for your day job. And so, how did you? You mentioned that you started out in landscape photography and then transferred over, or how did that? How did you
Yeah.
end up
So I
from
okay,
here
so
to? Let me just take it there. Let me take it there. How did you end up here with all the beautiful fashion to here? Let me just take you to the workshop. How did you end up here?
yeah. So I think when I first started, I'm a people person, right? So I think as you probably know this already, but I worked in human resources for a very, very long time and
Yes.
definitely a people person. I love people. I love interacting with people. I'm a pretty gregarious person by nature. So I'm a chatty Cathy. I think you and I have that in common, right? We like talking to people.
We can
So
chat all day. You know that.
all day long, you know how we do, Ron. So
Yes.
I can talk all day long if I needed to. So that, of course, bodes very well for trainers and people who like interacting and helping people kind of get to the next level. I believe very much so in lifting as we climb. And so as I get to some level, I want to make sure that other people are coming up to that same level with me. And what better way than to do it through what initially got me interested in photography in the first place? So yeah, when I first got interested in photography, it was to go out and do landscapes. And I would go out and take pictures of all of these wonderful things. And when I started making the crossover into doing photography full time, and I had always done, oh, thank you, Dr. Tashi. I had always done portraits and done weddings on the side, like as a side hustle, as many New York City photographers are. We have to go and do a lot of different things. But I hired a coach, and my coach said to me after he looked at my Instagram, he goes, all right, well, what are you trying to do? And I said, well, I think I want to do, some portraits and do models and fashion. He goes, but your entire IG is dedicated to just landscapes. And I went, oh man. So for the last few years, you've seen my IG building up to be more so portraits. But a few
Hmm.
months back, I switched over and started having, I started in landscape IG. Now, I'll share this with you and your audience only. But my coach told me that you could not be good in two niches, right? That you had to
Mm.
pick a niche. And a lot of people say that. I know that a lot of people tell you that, you should pick one niche and then get really good at that one niche. And it's true, but not true, right? Like
Hmm.
someone tells me something like that, the rebellious Aquarian that I am, I go, really? How can I see my way around that? How can I see
Yes.
my way as being both? Because I love landscapes. And of course, as a people person, I love taking pictures of people while they're out and being their authentic self and being able to have that translate into an image that makes them proud and makes them go, yes, that's me. I love it. I love that part. But now, and especially my mother transitioned 6 years ago, and it's become kind of my time to talk to my mom, right? When I go out and do landscapes and cityscapes now, it's become my opportunity to really just center myself and calm myself. And I noticed that when I do that, I take better pictures. And Rumi, the Sufi poet, actually kind of led me through that journey. And my coach actually introduced me to Rumi. I didn't know anything about Rumi. So many things line up with Rumi now. Beyonce
Mhm.
has a daughter named Rumi. She's one of my favorite artists. But there's so many things about Rumi that really work and center with me. And so I decided to have a workshop, a landscape photography workshop that is dedicated to really talking about the teaching and learning principles of Rumi and how to center yourself and how to go out and take beautiful landscape photos. And so I
Wow.
just came back from Utah. I was there over the summer and it was hot. It was, I think, 100 and so 105
Woo!
degrees on average every day that I was there. And I was out there
Mm.
hiking. I got the tan like nobody's business, which I always think is interesting. But I came back as red as the rock.
So, I love the fact, I mean, you and I have pretty much a similar beginnings to our photography. I started photography as travel photographer and landscapes and traveling. As a matter of fact, the first time I really took my photography serious is when I used to hike. I used to hike the Grand Canyons, Mount Washington, obviously here the Catskills, the Adirondacks, and so on and so on. So I've always loved photographing landscapes, and it was my landscapes that drew me into other mediums of photography. So, or genres. So how how did you come up with, I know you're saying about the Rumi and centering yourself and gathering your thoughts and your mind and your being, letting nature kind of like bring healing. And so there's a whole lot going on as you are venturing into this travel slash landscape world.
Yeah.
What do you plan to accomplish with doing this? What is your goal? What's your ultimate goal? Why should people visit and go with you to this amazing place?
Great question. So, number one, I think that it's really important for people to understand that you are the most important person in any equation, right? So, in
Mm,
any relationship, in anything that it is that you do, you are the most important person in that. And I
mhm.
think that for a lot of years, I had forgotten that. Right. I think that working in corporate totally makes you believe that you are the last important person. It's always the employees or the laws or the business or the money or thank you, Anthony. You always think that all of these other things are so important. And in the last, I'm going to say 3 to 4 years of um, my life has changed and totally upended itself in a way and in a manner that I would not have believed. And so I really, at that time, when I first started working with my photography coach, I had just stepped out of corporate and just decided, I don't know what it is that I'm going to do. I just know that I don't want to go to work 9 to 5 anymore. It was really like 9 to 9. I was working
Yes.
12, 13, 14-hour days as a vice president of HR. And I couldn't do it anymore. And the amount of stress, you're firing people, you're laying people off, you're telling people that this is bad when you know that there's another problem at hand. You're trying to coach managers to be better managers, but you know that they suck. Like it was all encompassing.
And
It was,
you were doing very well in your industry.
oh,
You were
extreme.
making the big bucks. You were
I
living
had a
a
very,
good
very
cushion life.
I had a very, very, very cushioned lifestyle. I think that I don't even want to collectively say, what my household income was at the time, but I was definitely very, very comfortable. And I decided one morning, and certainly there were concatenation of different events that happened, but I decided I don't want to do this anymore. And ironically, what happened, my brother and my sister Tarek and Tanya, shout out to them. We were going out to Vegas for my
Mhm.
sister's birthday. And I said, Vegas isn't too far from Utah. I've always wanted to go to Utah. I think I'm just going to go by myself to Utah for a week. And I'd never been on vacation by myself, had never ventured into Utah, never done any of that. And I rented a car for a week. Just me, my camera, my tripod, and a couple of clothes to change into. And I just drove all around the state and loved
Mhm.
it. And came to the conclusion that no, photography is what you really want to do. You don't want to sit here and do, listening to people's problems is great. I actually think that the employee relations part is the part that I love the most. And when I consult now, it's probably the biggest part of what I do, right? I do a lot of employee relations work. I love working with people, but the idea of being out somewhere and having something in your mind that you can envision and then being able to commit that to a sensor or to film, so to speak, I find that process amazing. HR is a very tricky job, Chris.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can only
It's a very
imagine. I
tricky
hear the
job.
stories. The stories
Listen,
are crazy about HR.
we're gonna have to do a whole nother podcast about that in and of itself. But like I did it for and still continue. I still consult, right? Because I still have to pay the bills. I'm still building up my photography business, so I'm still doing a little bit of HR consulting here and there. But I think that what I made the decision to do, and this is why Rumi became so important to me, right? Rumi kind of got me to center myself and got me to see you're worried about all of these other things. You're worried about this company. You're worried about these employees. You're worried about even your children, right? And you're not focused on what makes you happy, what brings you joy.
Yes.
You're not
Yes.
healing yourself. You've been through a lot. You haven't healed yourself. And so as I started on this journey of kind of figuring out what I wanted to do when I grew up with my coach, and he pointed me, certainly I got into, okay, I know that I love portraits. I know that I don't mind doing events. And he said, all right,
Mhm.
let's focus on that. And so that's definitely been my focus. But every couple of years, every couple of months, I go out and take pictures and do landscapes. I just took some pictures at the Brooklyn Bridge not too long ago during Photoville, right? Like, so I'm always doing landscapes and cityscapes. I think it's important to get out, but mostly because it does something intrinsically to me. It helps to kind of settle my soul. It even makes me a better photographer. It makes me show up better for my portrait clients because I'm that centered. I'm that much more calm. I'm that much
Wow.
more willing to, be. I think it helps me to be that much more a better and more creative because I'm calmer and I'm a little bit more centered, as opposed to being in corporate where things are very chaotic and
Mhm.
happen
Mhm.
very haphazardly, and you are asked at a moment's notice to pivot. I used to get all types of crazy things getting, thrown at me. And because I was a VP of HR, the buck kind of stopped with me. And there's a lot of stuff on your shoulders that you have to bear when you're in a position like that. I just didn't want to do it.
Well, so now you have this program. It's now coming up in November.
Yes,
How do people connect with you to be a part of it? What are your expectations of, who's going to show up and who wants to be a part of it? How how do people connect with you so they can get on board because November is around the corner, right? So I presume
right
that they
around the
have to
corner.
start paying up and getting things ready for this big trip. I'm curious because I said I love Utah. I'm like, if I could find a way, Utah may be on my calendar. So I'm always curious. Well, not curious. I'm curious, and I want to know how are you able? How are you going to? Sorry, let me just go back. How are you going to be able to get all of these folks together, or whoever wants to go, or how many people are you planning for? And then what are some key points that you're going to do when you're there?
Okay. So I think that it's what I did was I looked at, of course, my love of educating and talking, and looked at different ways and means for me to be able to get like-minded people together.
Mm-hmm.
And as I shared before, do a little bit of lifting as we climb, right? So I know that there are a lot of people who have not been out to Utah or would not necessarily be able to get to some of these beautiful locations all on their own, or be able to put together a comprehensive package that would enable them to have the experience that I'm putting together. So
Mm.
if people go onto my website, they would be able to sign up for the workshop. I'm only having 10 people. I'm only allowing 10 people in this class.
Gotcha.
So it's a very small class. And what the plan is to take people, and it's going to be a very small class. So I want it to be very intimate. So I have everyone kind of staying in the same location with my partners out there in it's Coral Cliffs
Mm-hmm.
townhomes. And so that's kind of our jumping off point, and everyone will be at that townhome. And then from there, we will jump to 6 different locations, including White Pocket, which is absolutely amazing in Vermilion
Mm.
Cliffs, the Toadstools, Sand Mountain, Tokerville Falls, which is, I think, the lead-in picture on the website there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Peekaboo Canyon. So there are all of these wonderful locations that my partner, and they're the ones who are doing the tours. So they're a touring company that I have partnered with, that if you decided that you were going to go out and do a tour with them, it would definitely cost you. If you were trying to do all 6 of these tours by yourself, and then, of course, do lodging, you would be paying an arm and a leg.
Mm-hmm.
I have put
Mm-hmm.
together a package where you can come out with me. I am not only going to get you from Las Vegas, which you could fly into St. George if you got long pockets like that, but I am an entrepreneur and think that many people are like me and want to fly into the major airport where it would be a little bit cheaper. So Las Vegas is the closest airport, but I'm even putting something together where I will have a shuttle take you from Las Vegas and bring you into Kanab, which is where the Coral Cliffs townhomes are. And then we will
Mm-hmm.
have 3 days of what I'm calling landscapes, learning, and lodging, where we'll
Nice.
be together for 3 days, and we will go to these 6 different locations within those 3 days. And then right after that, what's really nice is that it's Veterans Day, so you get an extra day to kind of recoup before you get back to work and anything else that you might have to do. So the conference, my workshop goes from Thursday until Sunday, and then you can leave on Sunday and still have another day of rest to recoup and look at all the wonderful photos. But I think that what's really important for me, and very similar to what you were doing here, Ron, because you have inspired me, but it's really to also create a community of people who are like-minded, who want to go out and have these wonderful experiences and not pay $10 billion to go and do it. I've put together what I think is a very cost-effective package, and specifically to RLP family members, I am giving a $600 discount to attend. Also, another very
Mm.
cool factor is that I have set up different payment options. And so if people need a little bit more time to pay, I have
Mm-hmm.
all of those different options set up on my website so people can actually do those after pay options and spread out their payments over months if they needed to. But very affordable. And the total price, I think, for RLP members comes out to be, I think it's $2,800 and that's your lodging included for 3 days, 3 nights in Utah.
Wow. Wow. That sounds amazing. Whew. I've always wanted to go to Utah. I've never been there. And I want to figure out a way to get there with
I'm
you.
gonna have
Not
to say,
now. Now I
well,
don't want. Now I
we're
don't
gonna
want to do
talk
it by
offline,
myself.
Ron, because I have a way to get you there.
So let me put this up here. This is the website, so you guys can have it. I will also put this in the link of the description because we're gonna get ready to close out. And but here is it is photography by amparo.com/ the soulful land. But if you just go to photography by amparo.com, you can just go straight there and just go to the top of it, of the tab, like you see here, and just click at the top. It's right here, and it says workshop. So you go to the top, is workshop right there. Okay, so but this is the website itself and the link to this page, to the workshop. what would you like to leave with the people as we get ready to close out?
Yeah, you know what I'd love to do, and I don't know if you have this up and available, but I just wanted to show some people some of the landscape work that I have done because I think most people know me for a lot of my portrait work. That seems to be my main page that people show. So I did want to just get people a little bit more familiarized with some of my landscape work so that they know that they're not just going out there with someone who's just clicking a photo, clicking pictures, taking snapshots.
Let
But
me
B also so that people know and understand too that I'm a very experienced instructor. I have 31 years of experience now doing and facilitating trainings and learning for people. So I've done it in a lot of different venues, but of course now doing it with a topic that I love is really exciting to me. So I
where
can't
could
wait.
where could they find your landscape photography?
Landscapes dot I think it's landscapes.by.amparo on IG.
Okay, and if they go into your Instagram, like I'm going to try it now. I'm going to just show you guys what I'm doing here. So that's the beauty of being live. I do believe you can go to her Linktree link, and it's in
I don't know if
there.
you know what? A friend of mine told me that I needed to do this. And
You
so
didn't put it in there, yo. What's going on?
shout out
No,
to him because now I am so on the spot. And so
say it ain't
this is
so.
the
Okay,
reason
so
why.
we're going to go to. Let's go to
I think it's
www
landscapes
landscape.
by
Okay.
Amparo.
Is it just ES or
But
just
it's on
ES?
IG. You have to search it on IG. So if you're on IG and just do a search in IG,
Oh, okay, gotcha. Oh, sorry, my bad. It's on lands. Okay, here we go. Let's go there.
yeah, just go to
Landscape.
There I got the landscapes. I'm the third one down, I think. Yes.
By Amparo. There she is. There she is,
Yes.
y'all. Let's go there. Let's go there. Let's go there. This is the works of Amparo. And
Yes. This is
we gotta get
actually
down your main website.
that's in Sand Mountain in Utah. Those are some petroglyphs that I came across. That's Tokerville Falls. Yeah, that was my most recent trip out there. It's so beautiful
Wow,
out
look at
there.
that.
I came across dinosaur tracks while I was out there. So we will definitely be seeing that. Yeah, that's Tokerville Falls. It's so beautiful out there. Those are my partners out in Utah. Absolutely amazing place. And this is some of
this is
like
your
my
some
that's that's out in White Pocket. That's out in White Pocket, Utah. That's out in White Pocket also. That's Goblin Valley. That's Goblin Valley out in Utah. That is oh goodness. That's Bryce Canyon.
now where's this at?
That's oh goodness. State
It says,
Park.
I think, it says Quail. Okay, Quail Creek.
Yes, Quail Creek. Yes, thank
Got
you.
it.
Quail Creek. And that is Bryce Canyon.
This is one. Now,
Utah.
this is one of the most famous places in Utah to photograph.
It is absolutely insanely beautiful. I actually stayed there at the park that night so that I could wake up first thing in the morning and go there. That's Utah from the sky.
Oh, I haven't hiked in so long. Woo! But you got some. I mean, yeah, this is a total different feel of your work.
Yeah, it's what I first fell in love with, the ability to capture a location or to really think about getting something that you see every day somewhere and making it look absolutely beautiful. I love that, especially with stills, something that's an inanimate object. I think it's so cool.
Wow.
And
Well,
to be able to do that, it helps to kind of center me to just think about Rumi. Like one of the things, and I'll leave with this. One of the Rumi quotes that really helped me to jump into full-time my photography career was there's a Rumi quote that says, "Set your life on fire and seek those that fan your flames." Right? And
wow.
so at that point in my life, there were so many things that were just chaotic and crazy. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to change everything, change everything about my life, and then only respond and get people into my circle, into my cipher, if you will, that really speak to my new me and the things that I'm doing to kind of come out of that cocoon and be a butterfly on the other side. So,
I,
you
I
know,
do have a couple of questions though for you. There's a couple of
ask,
questions.
please.
David Mascario says, how did you get started in photography? I think we covered that already, between your landscapes and all that. But if you want
But
to share anything else?
yeah, I did not go to school for it. I am all self-taught. I used to spend a lot of time at the Strand bookstore in New York City. So I used to read everything and anything, every magazine, every YouTube video, until I actually then just started practicing. So I just went out and started doing it. But all self-taught, no school for it. But I do have a master's degree in education, which will help with being able to facilitate the workshop.
Nice. And next, also, Christy says, do you think that a coach is an invaluable part of the process?
I think it depends on where you are in your photography journey. So I think that coaches are great for people who are starting out and people who are looking to make some very important decisions. I think coaches can also be good as just have someone in your pocket who is there kind of cheerleading you on, and that you are
Mhm.
paying to do something, but they're really giving you honest advice. It's different when your friends and your family are just telling you, sure, that's a great picture, everything you put out is wonderful, yes, that's lovely, and then your coach goes, it's crooked. You need to put a little less magenta in there. I
Yes.
need you to bring out a little of the shadows. Like it isn't. I think I found that to be invaluable. So even what I paid my coach, Kevin Malgrim, he's amazing. Even what I paid him, it was I got it back tenfold. And then there's also I have a mentor, MJ Kirkland, actually, who I didn't necessarily have to pay, but who I just happened to cozy up to, and he was willing to meet with me and take on the ability to mentor me, and I just was forever grateful to him for doing that. So I think, yeah, having a coach is important, whether it's a mentor or if it's someone who you're paying to go through the process with. I would say it's key if you want to level up, because you can certainly sit there and go through all the YouTube videos that you want, but unless you were getting feedback and unless there's someone who is really in the field and knows what you
Yes.
are doing, it's very hard to kind of know and gauge where you are.
And that one, this is the last question. Are there any prerequisites to joining in on the Utah trip? Can you be an amateur photographer?
It could just be you, Chrissy. It could just you just need to be you and a camera. I would say you, a camera, and a tripod. That's all you need. No prerequisites. We'll actually have some educational parts going on during the day. So there'll definitely be portions to learn. I'll definitely be talking about composition and differences with taking certain kind of lenses and what those lenses will do in landscape versus what it would do for portraiture. I'll definitely be talking a little bit about sunlight and talking about the direction of light and quality of light and how those things make an impact on your photos. And then also weaving in Rumi, right? How do you become centered so that you know what to look for, how to center yourself to make sure that you're getting the image that you might be feeling at that particular moment in
Mm,
time, right? So it's not always about, oh yes, let me just take a snapshot of what's in front of me. Maybe you want to focus more so on the texture. Maybe you want to focus more so on, the path that led to, the image that's the subject. I'll leave everybody with this too. All images must have a subject.
there you
Everything,
go.
even a landscape,
That's right.
everything has to have a subject. So, but we'll be learning about all of that stuff, Chrissy. So I would love for you to join me. If you'd love to join me, all I need you to do is click. That's it. Just click on and join on, and I'd love to have you.
And she will give, and Amparo is one that will give you all the information. She is good at having a great conversation, give you the details, works with details, and I think it'll be good. Well, wow. Any more questions out there before I close it out? I see here we look good. I see everyone has the fire signs up. Thanks, an awesome quote.
Thank
Anthony
you,
sends
Anthony.
some love. I see girls Club is sending some love.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I see all the and Chrissy's got her applause. So, guys,
Thank you.
this community, I love this community. I love what we do as we come together and we gravitate to things that are positive, things that can help us become better people and a better society and a better country, and we do it all together. And that's what's beautiful about community. And we need more community. We need more community everywhere in every aspects, all the aspects of our lives. We should be building community. And if you don't have a community, create one yourself. If you can't find a community, create one yourself. That's how it all begins. And then you will be impacting lives, and those lives will definitely impact you. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. Amparo, thank you for sharing so much of what you do.
Thank you for
Tomorrow,
having me.
oh, look, Miss Pillar. You are a blessing. And tomorrow I will be on location in the. I mean, obviously we have our touch base daily tomorrow, and we're diving into more politics tomorrow, and but also tomorrow evening I will be at a gallery show from Madivan. Madivan, who is also a part of our community, he has his first solo show tomorrow, and
Oh,
it will
wow.
be in Soho at the Soho Gallery in Tribeca. That's right. It's going to be in Tribeca at the Soho Gallery. So that's tomorrow evening. And so it's launching. And I do believe it's at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. One of those times I'll get that information. But we'll be there for the opening, and my meetup group will be there for the opening. So we'll be live. I'll broadcast from there in the evening on the Move. You know how I do on the Move. And this tonight I will be also on the Move in Soho. David Yarrow is having an event tonight and at his gallery, and he is going to be at his show tonight. So I met David Yarrow years ago when I started this journey. His quote, one of his phrases is what inspired me, and that was, the lens is an extension of my heart. The lens is an extension to my heart, of my heart. And I was like, wow,
Love
that's pretty
that.
deep. That's pretty deep. And another lesson I learned from the first time meeting him, and he was saying, I take thousands of photos a year, and if I get one awesome shot in that year, it was a good year. I said, wait a minute. This man is the most awesome photographer. And he said if he could get one shot in that year, it
Wow.
means it was a great year. It was a good year. And when I was just starting my journey, I had just met him at his show, and it took off all the weights in the beginning of my journey, because I no longer was like, oh my gosh, every shot I take has to be an award-winning shot, and that maybe it would never even be an award-winning shot, but that you can take your craft and just do it out of the depths of love for it. Photographers, we do what we do because we love what we do. And it's not about the fame, it's not about the fortune, it's about the love of the craft. And he gave me a license to be free as a photographer. And so I cannot wait to see him this evening. It's going to be a beautiful event in Soho. And I am excited. And I can't wait to share some of it with you guys. I'll be live. I'll be sharing it so that way you can be a part of it. So, guys, thank you so much for
Can I add
joining.
one thing to that? Can I just add
Yes,
one
my
thing to
dear.
that quickly? That really just resonates with me so much what you just shared because, wow, if you don't do what you love, right? And photography is what I love. And if you don't do what you love, then you end up doing something else for someone else, and it's really helping to build what they love, right? You end up going to work for someone else to help them build something else that they love. And so, wow, that really, really resonated with me. Wow, I love that quote. I might have to join you tomorrow.
Look,
I
well,
might need to join you and come out.
tonight is David Yarrow. If you want to join me tonight, you're more than welcome to. It's like I said, it starts at 5 o'clock this evening. If you want to join me, meet me at the gallery. I'll send you the information.
Cool. That sounds good.
Okay, so we'll be there together. If you want to show up, you're more than welcome to join me tonight. Okay, guys,
Show
that was it. This is it, y'all. This was a wonderful day. Let's continue to share and tell people about voting. Remember, if you are not if you live in Texas or any of the other states that have been purging the rolls, make sure you are
Mhm.
on the roll. Voting begins next week in I think it's 5 days. Voting begins in 5 days, y'all.
Wow.
5 days. So make sure your friends are registered. Make sure your family is registered. Make sure you are on the rolls, and everybody you love and everybody you know, even if you don't love them, make sure they're on the rolls. Make sure everybody is going to vote, and make sure you let them know and educate them why they need to vote all blue for this election. All blue. Anything with red needs to be canceled out. And beware, I here in New York State and Jersey, the Republicans that are running for Congress are not saying they're Republicans. I want you to notice their advertisements on TV. They are not saying they're Republicans. If you go, I think it's Kane or Kane, I think it's Kane for New Jersey, not saying he's a Republican. These people are now cloaking themselves because they know how bad it is to be a Republican. So when you look at their advertisements, you won't see anything about Republican on it. So
Wow.
make sure you know who they are. But when they get in that voting booth, there's no other choice. They still got to go in that Republican category or the independent category or the Republican Democrat. Just go on that Democrat. And I shouldn't tell you how to vote, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to vote. I'm going to go in and look at that Democrat line and go click, 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 click. We'll get the pencils now. Go pencil, 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 all the way down Democrats. I don't want to look. I don't even want to look at Republicans.
I love
They
it.
have because, and the reason why, speaking from a Republican, a former Republican, is that the Republican Party needs to be destroyed so that it can be rebuilt, or it just needs to be something new. Whatever happens with the Republican Party, it cannot exist the way it is today. And the only way it can do that, and this I'm sharing with other Republicans are in. We are all in all the. I can't say we are, but I used to be a Republican. But Republicans are all saying the Republican Party, those that are trying to save it and want it to come back, because we need a two-party system in America to have balance. It's important. We need to make sure that the Republicans know there will be a blue wave that's so big. I hope that the states that we never expected will turn blue. And that will be the message that knocks them on their knees and say, you know what? We're done with the Trump era. But we got to vote blue. And not only that, we must give her all the tools. Kamala needs a Senate that's blue and the House of Representatives blue. Okay, I'm not going to kick us
Anyone
down
who's
here again.
undecided, 81,000 people already fired him. 81 million people already fired him.
That's right. Just know 81 million people fired him last time, and we're going to try and make it 100 million this time. Okay,
That
guys,
part.
I'm out of here. Thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow. Love you all, and we are out of here.